How do you think you would beat Ilia Topuria? I grab him by the scruff of the chest and slap that little nose off him, yeah? Little ding-dong of a thing he is, yeah?
Alright guys, it has been 24 hours since we saw Topuria get his nose smacked off by Justin Gaethje. A great fight. It was a great night. Let's be honest, it was a great night of action. Any night where there is no decisions, there's no boring fights, there's no let me lay on top of you for 15 to 25 minutes fights. It's always a good night. There was upsets, there was drama, and the main event delivered like we all knew it would. But I went back after yesterday. We watched on live stream. I made some pre-records. After that, I went over to my mate's place and we actually rewatched the whole entire event. He hadn't seen any of it, so we went and we watched them all again. And you know, it is different. Once you know the results and you're watching the fights, you can sort of watch it a little bit differently. There's less emotion in it. There's less sort of listening to the commentators in it. And you can really just knuckle down and focus and see, you know, pick apart the fights. And when I watched it live and when we watched it together on live stream, I think we were all sort of thinking that fight was quite close. I'm surprised that we didn't see a fifth round. Ilia Topuria looked like he had quite a good fourth round. I'm surprised they didn't just let him leave it all out there and go in for the fifth round, considering, you know, the commentators and lots of people were looking at it and saying, well, Ilia Topuria, he won the second round. He probably won the fourth round. Justin Gaethje won the first round and won the third round. It's very close. It's probably level going into the fifth. Went back and watched it, and I think you can see when you rewatch the fight, if you haven't already, I would say go back and watch it, because Justin Gaethje definitely wins the first round. Ilia Topuria has a good spout at the end of the round, like the last minute, 45 seconds, and actually out sort of lands Justin Gaethje. But Justin Gaethje's already done some damage. The cut's already forming from that uppercut. And so you say Justin Gaethje probably, well, for me, quite clearly won the first round. I don't think the last minute of action from Ilia Topuria outweighs what good work Justin Gaethje did. Great. Second round, we know what happens in the second round. Ilia Topuria rips to the body. Some mean shots. I think Justin Gaethje said he can't believe that he continued after that liver shot, that mean left hook. We all saw it. And it was good work from Ilia Topuria. He was, you know, rips the right hook, taps upstairs, and then finds the left hook and drops him, folds him in half, but can't finish him. And when you rewatch it, I think, you know, he goes for the submission, whereas I think Ilia Topuria might have been better off getting back to his feet. He was on full mount, so he could have got back to his feet, made Justin Gaethje stand up, and then go back to ripping at that body. I feel like by the time they get to the third round, Justin Gaethje has recovered from that body shot. Then we saw in the third round, Justin Gaethje lands that beautiful right hand that drops Ilia Topuria, and then he just piles on the pressure. But Ilia Topuria, you know, good enough on the floor to find a way out of that round. You know, that was middle of round 3. So Ilia Topuria did very well to get out of that round. But coming into the corner, his face is a bloody mess. The eyes are swollen, blood everywhere, and he can't see. And I saw a quote today saying that, you know, after the first round, he couldn't see out of his right eye, and out of the second round, he couldn't see out of his left eye. So, you know, Ilia Topuria, credit to him to fight another 2 rounds without being able to see. We all saw at the end of the third round when I thought I heard him say on the stool that, you know, I can't see. And then the doctor comes over and he says, no, I'm good. I can continue. I want to continue. So we see the third round. The fourth round, it's very, very level. I think the commentators sort of make it out as though Ilia Topuria had a really good round. I don't think Ilia Topuria had a really good round. I think Ilia Topuria had a round that was better than his previous one. You know, when we see somebody have a really awful fight or a really, really awful round, and the next round, you know, it's more level. But because of the improvements the guy that was shit in the last round has, you sort of sway towards, he's like, oh, wow, he looks so much better than he did the previous round. Doesn't necessarily mean he's winning. He's just not losing by as much. And I do think it was a very level round. Neither one really dominated. They were both fatigued. They were both tired. But Justin Gaethje, if anything, ends the round the better. We all saw him, you know, stop the takedown attempt from Ilia Topuria in the sprawl, end up on top. He gets into side control and just starts kneeing at the ribs of Ilia Topuria. One that, you know, I'm very surprised if it didn't break a rib in Ilia Topuria. And you look at that, so you see that massive shot that he lands with the knee. You saw the mean uppercut that he also lands in round 4. That for me was the shot that won him the fight, which is what we're going to get into, quitting in the corner. In that fourth round, there was one uppercut that Justin Gaethje lands right on the cut that he formed in the first round. And as soon as it lands, not only does it explode, blood starts going everywhere, but you could see Ilia Topuria start grabbing at that face, grabbing at that eye, and really struggling with that pain. I think that was the shot that was the definitive, that's the end of the fight. Look, the knee at the end doesn't help, and the corner would have seen that knee and said, this guy, he just can't take any more of this. And going into the corner, Ilia Topuria saying he wants to continue. You can audibly hear his brother screaming, we are going to continue this fight. But one of the cornermen says, we've had enough. You're not going back out there, which Ilia's not going to be happy about. His brother's not going to be happy about. I've had different discussions about this. Did Ilia Topuria quit? Did his team retire him? Whatever it is. Either way, right? Ilia Topuria wants to go back out there. We know Ilia Topuria. He's got a lot of pride. He wants to go out there. He believes he can win it. But I think the corner does make the right decision in pulling him out of that fight because he was just going to get more and more and more hurt. If he couldn't see for 2 rounds, his corner probably knew he couldn't see for 2 rounds. They're not going to send him out for a 5th round following the 4th round where he just ate a massive uppercut and a knee to the body. He'd lost round 3. He's probably looking at needing a knockout, right? Depending on how they scored the 1st round and the 4th round, there's a good chance Ilia Topuria needed a knockout. Nobody believes he was going to get a knockout. And they would have been sat there looking at Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje looks like he did at the start of the 1st round, right? Apart from being tired and fatigued, there's no cuts, there's no scrapes, there's no bruises, there's no swelling, there's no nothing. They look at their own fighter, like, look at him on this stool. That's not a guy that can continue. That is not a guy that is ready to go into the 5th round. That is a guy that has gotten his ass kicked. He's been beaten profusely by Justin Gaethje, and I think they made the right call to pull him out. But for Ilia Topuria, it's gonna be now a funny transition or a weird transition for him because we just saw a guy that, he calls knocking out Volk, he calls knocking out Holloway, he calls knocking out Charles Oliveira in the 1st round. He apologizes to Charles Oliveira before the knockout, saying, I apologize that it has to be you. He has a celebratory party before knocking out Charles Oliveira. He has a celebratory party before fighting Justin Gaethje. All of a sudden, this aura, this confidence, this unstoppable mentality, how Ilia Topuria now approaches his next fight, his comeback, whenever that might be, because that guy's going to be out of the ring for a very long time with the damage he took, is going to be very, very interesting because I can't see us seeing the same Ilia Topuria. There's no way Topuria can come out with that same swagger, that same confidence, that same sort of arrogance and ego that he's had, considering he has just had a beatdown from Justin Gaethje. Like, Justin Gaethje whooped his ass yesterday, and it was a brutal fight. Feel good for Justin Gaethje. It couldn't have happened to a better guy, honestly. Justin Gaethje, the amount of stuff he's put into the UFC, the fights, the wins, the losses, and you know what? It has all come to fruition what Khabib said about how hard he hits. Because, look, Charles Oliveira, Volkanovski, Max Holloway, none of those, I believe, are a big, heavy-hitting fighter, right? Max Holloway is a very good boxer, very good technical boxer. So is Volk. Charles Oliveira, he's good technically in the stand-up, but he's better on the floor, and we know that he's a submission artist. Justin Gaethje's hands are made of fucking concrete, and that is clear because the fact that the first uppercut split open Topuria's face, the fact that by round 3, the guy couldn't see out of either eye. And you know what else I really appreciated about Justin Gaethje's fight last night? Was the technical aspect, all right? Because he does have heavy hands. He does hit with big power, but he doesn't load up on these shots. Like, he was hurting and pushing Ilia Topuria back by just inviting Topuria to walk forward and sticking that jab out. Like, that was a ramrodding jab that he stuck out quite a few times. The grabbing at the leg throw and the uppercut as well. A beautiful display of boxing from Justin Gaethje, and those hands are concrete. His head's got to be made of cement. I don't know how. Because it's not as though Ilia Topuria didn't land good shots in that. Like, he was ripping heavy shots on Justin Gaethje to body and to head. And Justin Gaethje, although tired and fatigued and was folded at one point in that fight, didn't look as though he took too much damage. He was doing backflips after the fight. It wasn't as though he was laying on his back completely exhausted. So, unbelievable performance by Justin Gaethje. If you are new to this channel, please do like, please do subscribe. I am going to be making a podcast episode right after this, but I did want to talk once more about that fight and about a bit more that I saw watching the replay of Justin Gaethje versus Ilia Topuria, some of the stuff that I probably missed in the heat of the moment or in the live stream and in the pre-record straight away yesterday. So I thought we covered a little bit more of it. We'll talk more about Alex Pereira and the rest of the card, as well as Bam Rodriguez in the podcast. So if you would like to join me for 30 minutes to an hour, it depends on how long we do the podcast, please do subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. The podcast should drop later today. But an unbelievable fight yesterday. The event was I keep saying it. I loved the event. I rewatched it all. I thought what they've done there yesterday was something that I don't think will ever be replicated. I don't know what they can do to top that event. I think, and you know what else made it even more special? The fights were good. If those fights were shit, if every single one of them tanked, if the main event was boring, the event wouldn't have been half as good as it was. So you got to give credit to the fighters. I do want to give credit to Ilia Topuria. He's going to cop it in the next sort of few months, in the past 24 hours. He's going to cop it brutally. I've already seen it on Instagram and stuff. And look, we like to have the banter. We like to have the shits and giggle. Lots of people don't like Ilia Topuria, so I get that. It's time you can give him back what he's been given to everybody else. But you got to give credit to Ilia Topuria because he did show a lot of heart and a lot of will to keep going in that fight. But Ilia Topuria has been slapped up by Justin Gaethje. A great performance by him. Make sure you are here for the podcast later today. See yous.